Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're talking about bad spells. Spells that are traps, things that players choose trying to make cool effects or powerful abilities come to life, and it just falls flat. Not every spell is a winner. Most of them are. Most spells have use cases. They're things that could come in handy often, and there's usually not a bad pick when you're coming to your spells. It's based on what you're trying to do, but some just don't hold water. And today we're going to be talking about the Druid, specifically Druid Cantrips. Cantrips are really, really important for Druids because at the beginning of the game, they get two cantrips. Usually when I'm recommending players on what cantrips to choose, I say go with something that can attack and go with something that has a utility use. In the Druid's case, that's one of each, and then there's no other wiggle room for them. If they choose the wrong spell here, it can really have a detrimental effect, especially since their spells are something they lean into heavily. They don't have a whole lot of armor or weapons or other abilities that can back them up. It is spells most of the time. So you gotta be careful with your Druid cantrips. And I have prepared a top 5 list of spells, cantrips that I recommend Druids avoid at all costs. Before we get into the list though, I'd like to let you know that Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships now. For $1 a month, you can support me here on the channel and earn a couple benefits. First of all, you get a badge in your name next to the comments, letting folks know that you're a supporter, earning you my undying gratitude. And you also get early access to the videos. I upload videos every other day as the week progresses, and I have done for years. Now, when I upload a video, it's going to be a day earlier than the normal upload, and it'll be accessible to my members. If you can't afford to be a member, that's fine. The videos are still coming the same way they have the whole time the channel's been up, so you're not losing anything. But if you'd like early access and to support me, you can click the join button below this video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for enjoying the content. So, Druid cantrips. Let's start with an obvious one. Resistance. One of the greatest cantrips in the whole game is Guidance, which is kind of like a cousin cantrip to Resistance. Guidance allows you to grant a D4 to a creature that's doing an ability check. That's awesome. It lets you support your allies and support yourself in ability checks, which is something that you're in control of. You know what you're not in control of? Making saving throws. Usually you make a saving throw because a creature casts a spell or some other effect on you that you have to resist. Resistance is an action to cast, lasts for a minute with your concentration, I might add, and gives you an extra D4 on the next saving throw you make. But you don't get to choose saving throws. You get to choose ability checks most of the time, but saving throws not so much. Meaning that when you cast this, you're just guessing. You're guessing that you're going to be making a saving throw in the next minute, which usually happens in combat, so you're using your concentration on this. And yeah, it's not worth it. The spell Bless does this, and I know that's a first level spell, but it lasts a minute and works with every saving throw, not just the next one, and it boosts your attacks too. Resistance just is not gonna come up. You're gonna make a save, and you're gonna think, oh, I could have had resistance going, but then I also would have lost whatever I was concentrating on to do that. If resistance was a reaction and didn't take concentration, it would be a top tier cantrip, but it's not. It's an action and takes concentration, so it goes on this list. Now, there was a lot of utility spells that was added in Xanathar's Guide to Everything that had elemental themes, earth, air, fire, water. And some of them were great, some of them were not. The next one I'm talking about is Control Flames. This is the fire controlling cantrip. It allows you to take non-magical flame, and for the record, this isn't flame you create. This is flame that already exists, and you can cause it to spread, assuming that there's wood or fuel for it to spread to, which is a weird effect considering fire kind of does that by itself. But you can also change its color, its brightness. You can even create vague shapes within the fire, or snuff it out, 1 5-foot cube at a time. Yeah, it doesn't do anything really. Like, there are spells like Thaumaturgy that lets you control the color and intensity of flame. And it'd be cool, it'd be alright if you could, like, summon flame, like, produce flame, or create bonfire, and then control it. That'd be fine, but you can't do that either, because this only works on non-magical fire. So, yeah, it just doesn't really do anything. Like, it sounds thematic, but there are other ways you can accomplish this without wasting one of your precious cantrips on it. Control Flames just doesn't do much. The other one I'm going to talk about here is Mold Earth. Now, Mold Earth is a little better than Control Flames because it does actually allow you to physically move Earth. You can target loose ground, so soil, and excavate a 5-foot area of it. That's actually not bad. It's fast. It's a fast way to dig if you need to dig a hole. You can also make difficult terrain into non-difficult terrain or vice versa. And you can make things like shapes appear on stone or earth. You can't carve stuff out of stone, but you can make shapes appear on stone. I guess like a cave painting or something. It's not as bad as Control Flames. That ability to dig really fast is actually kind of nice. If you spend a little while, you can just excavate a tunnel or a trench or something much faster than a shovel. But that's really what this comes down to, is that yes, this cantrip saves you time, but you can replicate the entire effect of it with a shovel or a pickaxe. Like, it's not really worth it. Like, if you have to dig a hole that quickly, like, what are the odds you're going to have to dig a hole that fast? It doesn't seem like something that's going to come up very often. If you could shape stone out of it, like, you know, create stone objects, that'd be cool. Then you wouldn't even never need a stone cutter. But yeah, Mold Earth just doesn't do that. Again, like Control Flames, it's a little underwhelming. As a side note, the other two spells that control elements, Shape Water and Gust, those are great spells, and I highly recommend you check them out. The ability to forcefully push people with wind or freeze water instantaneously, that's not a bad power to have. So, but Mold Earth, Control Flames just don't do it for me. The next one I'm going to talk about is Thunderclap. Thunderclap is kind of like Baby Thunder Wave. You clap, I guess, or create a boom. You create a thunder boom that affects all creatures within 5 feet of you. This is an AoE cantrip, which can hit multiple targets. The targets get a Constitution saving throw, which is the toughest one to target, and if they fail it, they take 1d6 damage. This scales with normal cantrip scaling, but it's not that much damage. It's a bad saving throw to target, and it creates a really loud noise. That's the thing about Thunderclap. A lot of spells don't really say they make noises. Firebolt, Ray of Frost, Thorn Whip, you're a druid after all. But this one does. It distinctly says it creates a 100-foot thunder boom that can be heard all over there. And therefore, if you're being stealthy or if you're trying to stay quiet, this just completely ruins the whole thing for not much damage and no damage if they succeed on a con save. It's just not a great spell, to be honest. I can see if you're surrounded by a bunch of tiny creatures, yes, this might kill them all. And I say might. But honestly, if I'm surrounded by a bunch of creatures, I've got bigger things to worry about. So, Thunderclap, not my first choice. Definitely in my bottom 5. And then finally, a very thematic spell that I actually thought was cool when I first saw it. Until I really, really looked into it. Infestation. You summon a swarm of insects to swarm around a creature. Infestation has 3 major flaws. First of all, well, honestly, it has 4, but we'll get there. First of all, it's a Constitution save, again. So, a creature is likely to resist it, and then nothing happens to them. Second, it only does 1d6 damage. Again, not a lot of damage. It's weaker as cantrips go. Thirdly, it does poison damage, which is very regularly resisted, and oftentimes in the higher game, completely immune to. Enemies, poison damage is considered one of the weakest types. Finally, its special effect, because most cantrips that do less damage have some kind of effect, and Infestation does. If they fail the Constitution save, the swarm moves the creature north, south, east, or west 5 feet. This is forced movement, which sounds awesome. The problem is that you don't get to choose the direction. You roll a d4, and that determines the direction the creature moves. So even the caster and the DM don't get to choose where the creature's going to get moved. You can't push them off cliffs reliably. You've got a 25% chance of moving them the direction you want them to go. And if you're trying to get them away from you, this could move them closer to you. And that's not good. This is nothing about this spell is good. The damage is not great. The damage type is awful. The saving throw is the worst one. And the special effect is unreliable at best and detrimental at worst. It's just a bad cantrip. There's no two ways about it. It's just not good at all. None of these spells are really that good. Yes, Mold Earth, Thunderclap has a use case, resistance could save you in a really, really weird situation. But yeah, these 5 spells are just, there's so many better choices out there. If you're a druid, don't use one of your spell slots on these spells. There are much, much better choices out there for you. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more bad spell reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.